Hi, my name's Kevin and I am the Bedback Gardener. In today's video I'm going to be repotting some of my palms I grew from seed. I got these seeds, some various palm seeds and tropical seeds from a trip to Florida where I gathered some of these up, and I've grown them from seed and they need to be repotted. Now I like to repot these in my preferred pot. Some of them are in a little bit bigger containers like this, and some of them are in smaller containers like that, as you can see. And the ones in the bigger containers, you can tell, have spread out a little bit more than the smaller ones, but they all need to be repotted. And my preferred pot that I usually use is I want something with a little bit of heaviness to them, so when the palm trees start to get a little taller, they don't fall over as easily. So I usually get clay pots like that, and I've been in the past been able to use or get a variety of colors. However, the supply place that I normally get those off of this year did not get them in, so I don't know if they had a problem with the supplier or what, but so this was left from last year that I got. So I'm down to the colors I ended up getting were the basic terracotta colored clay pots. I did get a variety of different types. You got the normal type clay pot, I suppose you'd call it, and then these are more of a rounder, same size basically, maybe a little bit more soil on that one, but I ended up getting some of those and then some of the regular ones too at a local supplier. You can also use, which I may end up using some of these too, these are the plastic pots. You want something with a little bit more soil in it, you can get the real small ones. I don't like these ones, like I said, as much because as the tree gets older, I mean, you'll need to repot it. Palm trees kind of like to have a close root system. They don't like a huge pot to grow in until their root ball gets a little bit bigger. At least that's what I've found and what I've read about. But you can use the plastic pots. You just got to watch because they will tend to tip over as the trees get bigger. I have a few trees that are close to six feet tall or more that I've gathered in my area. Of course, I live in western Pennsylvania, so there is no leaving them outside other than in the late spring, summer, and early fall. They spend their time outside, and that helps their growing season. But we get a windstorm or something, you get a light pot on the bottom, they will blow over. I've taken rocks and set them in the pots on top of the soil. That seems to help some, but they'll still tend to blow over. Anyways, we're going to transplant some of these pots today, and we'll get busy with that. Okay, now when I brought these up from Florida, I gathered a whole bunch of seeds, and you sometimes don't get real good germination, sometimes you do. This time I got extra good germination, so a lot of times I'd throw 3 or 4 seeds in a pot and hoping that I'd get one seed to come up. Well, in some cases that's what happened. In other cases I got all 3 seeds to come up. Now me, I hate to kill anything. I'm bad at that. I hate to, if one seed come up, I could have pulled the other 2. But I'm going to try and divide some of these, the multiple plant ones in the pot. It may be difficult to do because some of them grew extra close together. So I'm only talking about ½ inch apart. I don't want to kill them, so I have to be particular in which ones I can divide and which ones I just leave grow together, which I have done that in some of my bigger pots, my bigger trees. I have a couple trees in them. I don't like to do it that way, but they've grown just fine, but at some point they're going to be growing right beside each other. So that's what I'm going to do here and try and divide them up as much as I can. So we'll get started with that. Now, what I do, well, we'll talk about the soil first. I've gotten special potting soil for palms and cactus is what it is, and I also add a little wee bit of sand to it for drainage and stuff. That's what I've done with my other palm trees, and it's always seemed to work out good. They've grown really good with that, so that's what I tend to do. So it's not so much like potting soil, but it's a little bit sandier and a little bit easier to drain with. Now these pots also have holes in the bottom. So what I do is I take some wheat fabric, just cut a little square, and I'll put it down at the bottom of that before I fill it with soil. That helps just to keep the soil in the pot for one, and so it doesn't leach out with the water. But it also allows it to drain, and it also allows it to wick the water up to it if you water from the bottom. So that's what you'll see me do when I pot these. Is I use these little black squares I've cut off of the weed fabric. So we'll get started filling with this potting soil. And into the potting soil, I'm just going to add just a little bit of Osmocote fertilizer. They've been growing for a while, so I'm just going to add a little bit to this potting soil, just a little bit of Osmocote fertilizer, just to mix in. Not very much at all. Okay, and then you want to make sure your pots are watered good. You try and so they come out in one piece as best they can. So this one does have some pretty good roots to it. And you can tease your roots out a little bit here. This one is going pretty good there. Now you don't want to, when you put the soil on top, you don't want to go above the line of where you were growing before, because you may kill the plant. So you want to keep it at that same line for the soil level. So there's one. Now we're going to try and divide one up here. We'll use one of these ones here. Now these ones come with a sticker on the bottom. You want to open up that drain hole and put your weed fabric in. A little bit of Osmocote. So this one has 3 in it, and actually has 4 in it that are growing. I might be able to get all 3 of them divided, or 3 of the 4 divided. The 4th one is growing really close to the other one, so I don't know that I'll be able to divide those up. So to divide them up, what I usually do is I'll take a knife and I'll just make a cut in the soil and try and divide the soil into chunks. So when I'm pulling it out, if the roots have grown into each other, I'm kind of dividing those roots right off the bat rather than trying to pull them apart at that point. It seems to have worked in the past for me. I suppose it depends on how many roots you're cutting and leaving behind, but we're going to try it that way. Sometimes if you get like a spoon, in the smaller ones you can kind of dig those out just with a spoon. We'll give it a shot. Here's one. Trying to keep as much of the root ball intact as I can. What is left of the root ball of this one, since I divided it into 3. And there's our other one. Now I water these real good here after I do all these, but I got a lot of planting to do, and we're going to go into fast motion and get them all planted here. Okay, so that's going to do it. I got all but one pot here, which I'll plant that, and then I need to go find some more pots here. I have some more somewhere else, but we'll let it go at that for the video. Nothing hard. It's anything unusual about repotting stuff. I was just showing you all the repotting of the palms that I do and how I do it. So thanks for watching. Catch up with me on Facebook. You can also email me at bbgardner@zoominternet.net. And as always, if your back ain't hurting, you ain't working.